Good afternoon and welcome to NYFP. In mid-afternoon trade, the major U.S. stock averages remain in negative territory, but they have come off session lows. Joining me this afternoon is Peter Costa of Empire Executions. Hi, Peter. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we've had mixed economic data this morning out from the U.S. and then also mixed earnings reports, but I think a lot of people are paying attention to the EU. How have you priced in that risk?
Well, I think, me personally, I think this whole thing is priced in. You know, the market reacted pretty negatively at one point when they weren't getting it done, when they started to intimate that they were getting everything done, and then by Wednesday, Wednesday, we're supposed to hear if France and Germany agree to all the terms, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like it's a repeating cycle. And I understand how important it is to some investors, but to me, it's more important to look at the earnings. And some of the earnings today were a little disappointing, which to me weighs on me a little bit. But if you look at the overall earnings picture over the last 2 weeks, I think it's been fairly positive, except, today being the exception to that rule. But that's what I'm looking at.
Well, Peter, since you referred to earnings, 3M's report did disappoint to the downside, and we have also seen other big names disappoint to the downside. How concerned are you about that?
Well, it is concerned because 3M is a pretty good indicator of future economic growth, because it's still a company that has a broad mix of chemicals, which is used in this country. It also has a lot of consumer products, so it's a very good indicator, and it's also a great company. And you see them, missing earnings targets, and then scaling back their earnings. That is a little. It gives me pause. But looking at other things, other factors, I think retail numbers are going to come in next week. I think that's one thing I want to keep an eye on. I think we'll probably see pretty good retail numbers, and I think that'll help. And if not, then I'm going to start rethinking my bullish bent.
Well, since we're talking about economic data releases, we did see consumer confidence dip to recession levels today, but we still have U.S. GDP figures coming out later this week, as well as consumer sentiment. Right. How important do you think those numbers will be?
Well, they should be important. I mean, that's what everyone, I think, other than unemployment, I think GDP is the next largest number that we watch. And if we do have positive numbers, and it does look like there's some growth, I think that the trailing consumer sentiment might change in the next couple of months, because if we do see GDP growth building to a little bit better, that people will start getting a little more positive feeling. But if it's less, then this is just going to feed on what happened today.
Okay, last but
it's confusing, but if you follow my reasoning.
Okay, well, Peter, last but not least, before we wrap it up, I do want to touch on energy prices. Now, today, crude oil has spiked even higher, and we are edging closer to that $94 a barrel level. What do you see in the near future?
Well, you know what? I think that the economy can expand at anywhere from $85 to $95 a barrel oil. I think we've proven that in the past, that this country can continue an expansion. It might be a small one, but we can still expand the economy. Anything above $95 a barrel, I think that's where it starts putting pressure on the consumers again. And this spike was a little surprising to me. I didn't see any real reason for it when it started, but I do think that we'll probably moderate and level off at right. I think we'll probably level off right where we are now. I'd like to see it come back in a little bit, obviously, but I think with the economy being the way it is, I don't see this spiking too much, because the demand is not that high. So it's another confusing issue, but I do think that $95 is probably the top end. Hopefully it will be the top end.
Okay, Peter, thank you so much for weighing in on all these issues, and have a great afternoon.
Great, thank you.